So this is a single coil guitar played by itself without the harmonic percolator. And here's a harmonic on it. That's a root harmonic, and this is a clean harmonic. And this is the harmonic percolator. One of the nicest things about the harmonic percolator is that if you don't feel like playing guitar for a while, the harmonic percolator will do it for you, which is, one of the reasons that I use it. If I turn the output of the amplifier up a little bit, then it has a pretty good acoustic feedback through the pickups. That is, the pickup through the feedbacks, the acoustic pickup through the pickups as microphones will drive the percolator just as well as a plucked note will. Like the whistling quality that you get from this distortion pedal seems to be more controllable and more usable than a lot of other distortion pedals. Like the microphonic feedback seems to be more useful. And that was without me having to touch a string. So that's, as a labor-saving device, it's tremendous. This is one of the Barge Concepts pedals. We have two iterations of the circuit. I don't know how different they are. There are two knobs on the far left called drive and output. I have no idea what those do, so I've turned those all the way down. I tried turning them up, and it didn't seem to make any difference. And in any case, I believe that the red light on the drive button means that that's disengaged. When I use the harmonic percolator, it has two controls, balance and harmonics, and I have both of them all the way up. By that, I mean the harmonics is the distortion generation, I have that at maximum, and the balance is the blend between the distortion signal and the clean signal, and I have that turned all the way up as well. That's my normal usage of the pedal, is for sort of sound effects. And so that's the way I've got this set. There appears to be a difference in range because the output of this pedal doesn't sound very much like the harmonic percolator I'm used to. I'll show you what I mean. The whistling microphonic feedback gimmick doesn't seem to be working as well. The low frequency content doesn't seem to be as preserved, and just the general tone has kind of a raspier quality to it. This may be intended to simulate a version of the harmonic percolator that is not identical to the one that I own. The one that I own was, as I said, one that was sold by the original crazy dude from the Interfax company in Milwaukee. And this one may be simulating one of the many variations on the circuit. I don't know. I'm going to fiddle around with it a little and see if I can get it to more closely mimic the original harmonic percolator here. There's some sort of a high-frequency resonance in this pedal that doesn't exist in the original harmonic percolator, and I can't seem to tune it out. So I'm gonna try another version of this. This version of the pedal, that is this particular item, I don't know if it has any actual differences in components or topology between this pedal and the other pedal. In this one, the horrible sound seems a little bit more at bay, and it seems a little bit closer to the original Harmonic Percolator, but it still has this veneer of very brittle, high-frequency, horrible sound. I can imagine certain Japanese friends of mine who would really be into that sound, and they could conceivably base a career around it. For me, I'm used to the sound of my old reliable Harmonic Percolator, and I don't think that this pedal would be a suitable substitute. If you're into that sort of crazy distortion, but you also want a little bit of horrible on top of it, then I think this pedal would be your money. One thing I've noticed about the Harmonic Percolator in use is that it is extraordinarily sensitive to the load that's presented to the input side of the pedal. That is, if your guitar has low impedance or relatively low impedance output pickups, the circuit behaves differently than if you have high impedance pickups. Let's say if you have a Les Paul that's got two big fat coils on it, the distortion character is quite a bit different than if you have, say, a Telecaster, which has one relatively small coil. And there may be something about the interface of the guitar and the circuit that if you try to do anything extra fancy to it, screws up that balance. Like, for example, there's an extra circuit in the Barge Concepts pedal, the drive circuit that has the drive and the output. I don't know what that does. But if that comes prior to the input, if that comes prior to the distortion amplifier, there's a possibility that has changed the loading that my pickups would present to the distortion circuit. They look like they're smart guys, so they probably figured that out. There may also be a feedback circuit inside the pedal. I don't know. I haven't looked at the schematic. If there's a feedback circuit inside the pedal, it would also be sensitive to output loading. That is, depending on what amplifier you plugged it into, the feedback circuit would behave differently. And if they put an output buffer after the distortion circuit, then it would insulate that distortion circuit from the output load of the amplifier that it's plugged into. So there are a lot of possible culprits with respect to the horrible sound, and it could be something as simple as my particular guitar loading that particular input circuit behaves differently than my particular guitar loading the Harmonic Percolator or the Pussy Fuzz.